Hi, I'm John from Just Whiskey. If you enjoy today's show, please click like and subscribe. And I would appreciate if you would consider becoming a Patreon. And there is a link in the description below. And remember, no matter how good it is and how much it costs, it's just whiskey, folks. Today we're going to be talking about the infamous Redbreast 21. Before we get into that, I just want to tell you a little bit about my journey with Irish whiskey and from bourbon to Irish whiskey to Scotch. So today we're going to talk about Redbreast 21, and we're also going to talk about other products in the Redbreast family, including the Redbreast 12 cask strength, the new Redbreast small batch, NAS, and a limited release. And we're going to be talking about Redbreast and Irish whiskey. I visited Ireland in 2007, and one of the highlights was visiting the Midleton distillery, where of course they make Jameson, Midleton Extra Rare, Powers, many others. But of course they make Redbreast. And I volunteered to be a taster, which was really cool. And at the end of the tour, everybody gets a sample, one or two whiskeys, but the designated sampler gets to taste, I forget how many, I think it was 7 maybe. And you could stay there for as long as you want and sample as many things as you want. It was really cool. So the Midleton Distillery in Ireland was definitely a highlight. My journey started off with bourbon, pretty much like Buffalo Trace and what's the other one? It doesn't matter. And then I gravitated towards Irish whiskey, and I really explored the Teelings and Writer's Tears, and then the inexpensive brands like West Cork. And a story about Proper 12 I have for you. It hasn't really gotten a lot of favorable reviews from what I've seen and heard. And I was at a family gathering several months ago, and someone had a bottle of the Proper 12, and me being the snob that I am, I'm like, well, I don't. I heard didn't get good reviews and blah 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 blah. But it was the only whiskey they had, so I drank it, and I'll tell you, I really enjoyed it. Is it complex? No. It reminds me of Jameson. Very smooth, very sweet. Really, really enjoyable. And then I gravitated into the Scotch world, and that's where my heart has gone, is the Scotch world. And let me describe it like this. This is all my opinion, obviously. But for me, bourbons were, let's just say, like peanut butter. And then I graduated to Irish whiskeys, which were like jelly. Now you know where I'm going with this. Then when I got into the Scotch world, Scotch is like peanut butter and jelly and fluff at times on white bread, and you get the whole mouthfeel, the whole shebang. So that's my journey. So I do appreciate bourbons, and I do appreciate Irish whiskey, and I do like Redbreast. However, it's not my go-to. But let's get into the Redbreast 21. I bought this box a couple of years ago. Beautiful display case. it's a European release through the Netherlands that I got this. This is a 2018 release bottling of the Redbreast 21. Comes in a great case. You open it up and, very nicely displayed. And on the back, I can't read, I don't know if it's going to show up too well there, but it's written in Dutch, I'm assuming, since this came through the Netherlands. And they've pasted it over all the tasting notes, which is fine. But Redbreast 21, this is a 2018 bottling. We're in March of 2021 right now. And it comes in at 46% ABV, and it states right on the front of the label, non-chill filtered. So let's get into the price. 2 years ago, I paid between, I forget exactly, but between 120 and 140 euros for this. So for sake of argument, it cost me around $140, $150 2 years ago. Now, if you buy this through the Netherlands, you're going to pay at least 170 euros, which translates close to $200 US, maybe 190. But in the US, I did a quick search, and now these bottles are going, the cheapest I found it was around 240 US, but most of them are going for close to $300, like 290, 295, 299, $300. That's a lot of money. So let's get into it a little bit here. On the nose, even at a 21-year-old, you get that acetone. You get that bourbon acetone note, definitely. On the nose, you get the acetone, and you get pencil shavings. I've never smelt sandalwood, but I've heard other people describe pencil shavings as maybe sandalwood, so I can see how that might relate. It's also got a little bit of cola, a little bit of root beer flavor, and maybe a little bit of licorice. That's on the nose. On the palate, the palate's really nice. Mango. Every time this hits my mouth, mango, big time. Maybe a little bit of bubble gum. It's lightly sweet, and it has a medium finish, medium with a little lingering finish. It's a lovely whiskey. It really is. Is it worth the money? In my opinion, no. But let me just talk a little bit more about the finish. When you buy something like this, and you're spending now, if you want to buy this, close to $300, you're paying for the experience. Is it worth the experience? That's up to you. In my opinion, probably not. The finish on this, like almost all Irish whiskeys, especially the ones in the Redbreast family, but including the Writer's Tears too, when everything's said and done, I have this metallic taste on my tongue that just hangs there for a long time, like minutes after you finish this. You get that metallic, which is fine, but it's nothing to write home about. But that's what I found to be a characteristic in the Redbreast family and with some Irish whiskeys. So to wrap it up, before I talk about the other Redbreast family, it really is a lovely whiskey, but you're getting acetone on the nose and pencil shavings. But if you like mango, this is a really light, just a light, lovely whiskey that I think anybody would enjoy. All right, so let's get into the Redbreast. Some of this is going to be sound familiar to whoever watched my very first review. I did talk about these two Redbreast here, the 12-year cask strength, and then the new USA small batch NAS release. I've spent more time with these now, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about them to kind of like recap and refresh a little bit. The nose on the new small batch, there's not much on the nose. The palate, you get peach and bubblegum fruit, and it's a nice creamy texture, and you get a medium finish on it. And with the 12-year cask strength, I'll tell you, the 12-year cask strength is intense, and it has one hell of a bite. They're both only, the 12-year cask strength, this one here is from 2019, and it's 55.8, and the new small batch is 58.7. But in my opinion, the 12-year cask strength has more of a bite to it. On the nose, you get the acetone. You also get the bready notes. As you know, Redbreast is pot stilled with malted and unmalted barley. So you get a little bit of that breadiness. The nose on the 12-year cask strength, you get melon, honeydew, vanilla, a little bit of cola and root beer thing too. The palate, you know, even on the palate, you get the acetone, a little bit of rubbing alcohol. And it's fruity. For me, I really have to be in the mood for a cask strength, and sometimes my body just tells me no. Sometimes it's just really strong and astringent. And just a little quick recap on this also. The small batch. I said in my first episode, which is the truth, that I emailed Redbreast asking them some information on it, and they, quote, confirmed that this is a version of the 12-year cask strength. But then I also listened to an interview with Dave McCabe, the blender for Redbreast, and he described it as being more closer to a 9-year-old, closer to a Lestau version of Redbreast. So that's the information I have on that. So as far as price goes, a Redbreast 12-year, non-cask strength, but a regular Redbreast 12-year-old is around $50 US right now. The Redbreast 15-year-old retails between $90 and $95, so a little shy of $100. The Redbreast 12 cask strength retails for around $80. And this new small batch, USA only, retails for about $110. So, in my opinion, the 21-year-old is a lovely whiskey. Paying close to $300 now for it, you know, in my opinion, it's not worth the experience. My opinion, you're better off getting a Redbreast 12-year-old, which is a very soft, mellow whiskey. But that kind of gives you an idea of the family. The best Redbreast I've had to date, which I talked about, was a limited release that came out in 2019, USA only. They made 4 batches, A, B, C, and D. This is batch C, and they only made, basically it's like 4 different casks. So batch C only has 252 bottles. This one's open, and I have 2 backups on this. This was the 14-year-old cask strength, non-chill filtered. This was my favorite Redbreast, but you can't get it anymore. Having said that, what I would recommend, in my opinion, I think the Redbreast 15 is the best bang for your buck. It's a robust, flavorful, non-chill filtered. I think you get the best out of everything, in my opinion, with the Redbreast 15-year-old. Having said that, I've been spending quite a bit of time with these two, the 12-year-old cask strength and the new NAS cask strength. And I'll tell you, I find myself, I really enjoy the new. I really enjoy this one. I would take this over the 12-year-old cask strength. Now I know that goes against what a lot of people are saying, but I just find the 12-year-old cask strength, even when I water it down, it's just really not in my wheelhouse. I've had a couple of bottles too of different batches, but even though this one is not the new Redbreast small batch, even though there's not much on the nose, it's very sippable. I don't really feel a need to add any water to it. I don't feel like it's attacking me. It's really nice. Is it worth the extra money? That's up for you to decide on that. But if you take price out of the equation, in my opinion, all day long I would take this over the 12-year-old cask strength. And I also saw on Middleton's website recently, they're going to be coming out with I don't know if it's going to be released in the United States, but they're going to be coming out with a limited release 10-year-old Redbreast, and I believe it's going to be cask strength, but don't quote me on that. So as promised in the last video, I love these Walker shortbread biscuits, and they are the perfect thing to dunk into Irish whiskey. I don't like dipping them in Scotch whiskey, but for some reason, and I don't really like dipping them into bourbon per se, but here we go, folks. A Walker's shortbread cookie, dipping it into a Redbreast 21. It really complements the cookie, and you get that nice bite from it. It's a really cool thing that I enjoy doing. Sorry if the crunching noise was made too much noise. I've been sampling a little bit of the Writer's Tears. This is the 2019 Whiskey Advocate magazine rated this. That's number 10 best whiskey of 2019. So I kind of bought into the hype, and I bought 3 bottles of it. It's good. It's fine. It's got some nice viscosity to it. But in my opinion, it's kind of one or two dimensional. I mean, it's nice. Would I buy it again? No. Um, and then someone gave me this as a gift. You can find this anywhere. The West Cork bourbon cask. They make a few different varieties. You can pick this up for $20. It's only 40% ABV. If you want to get a cheap way out to find out what Irish whiskey is, this is kind of one-dimensional. There's not a lot going on there, but it's fine. It's a great little sipper. I did want to mention, the Writer's Tier Double Oak. It's 46% ABV, and it's this one here that is a marriage of pot still and single malt. So it's unique. It is nice, and it's got some great legs on it. This retails for around $40, $45, maybe $50 some places. So that's going to wrap it up. If you like today's show, please hit like and subscribe. Click the little bell to be notified. Please consider becoming a Patreon. The link is in the description below. And remember, no matter how good it is or how much it costs, it's just whiskey, folks. So hats off to you all, and take care.